Okay, and welcome back to card number 2 of my fancy folds for the fellas class. I've still got my pack here and I'm going to get out the items that we need for this card. So we are going to use the full sheet of early espresso that we haven't used yet, full A4 sheet. Okay, and then we need to take out our little envelope, the smallest envelope that has the bits and bobs in, and we need to take out the ribbon. We're going to use the ribbon, and we're going to use this Stitch So Sweetly die. We're going to use the like burgundy and greeny coloured leaves and the dark tree, the early espresso tree. Now when you get these, there may be a couple of little bits still to poke out that I've not popped out, and then we're also going to use this small white piece that I've cut for you, so you can pop those 2 pieces back in. They're going to be for the last card. So obviously we're going to use the papers as well, but let me remind you of the card, and we're going to use a piece of white. Actually, we had some white left from the last card, yeah. So I'm just going to check that's fine. We had some white left from the last card that we did. It was from that half a sheet. So this is the card we're making, and I was inspired to make this, and I've cased this from a lady called Sally McFadden, and her blog or website is the Polka Dot Life. So thank you, Sally, for that. And she calls it an angled card. I've adapted a couple of bits, but it's more or less how Sally makes it, and it is in inches for this one because I didn't have the capacity to be changing it to metric. So we are going to be working in inches, and you do need your ruler, pencil and an eraser for this, and I have put my eraser somewhere and I don't know where, but I can always do that afterwards. That's fine. So this belly band comes off and then it opens like that. It does stand up like that, so you can have it either way. You could have that pattern showing, more of that pattern showing if you wanted it to be a bit jazzier like that, or you could have more of the wooden one showing. And I've added this denim ribbon because I think it's great, and it goes with, it's like jeans, you know, they go with everything, and it is coming back. We lost it briefly and it was a bit perplexing, but it is going to be in the new mini catalogue coming out in January. I love the denim ribbon. So this is the card. Now I will try and go as slow as possible on this one, probably because I'll probably find it tricky myself, because I've only made the one. Okay, so we are going to take our piece of A4 and we need to cut this down a little. Okay, we need our arm open, but it needs to be 5.5 inches. You will be using that by 11 inches. So our card is about 11 and just short of 11 3/4, so it's by 11. But in the US, their card that's like our A4 is 8.5 by 11. Okay, so that's 5.5 by 11. And then this piece, I want you to cut it down. Yep. And I want you to cut it down to 10. While we're cutting, and then turn it round and cut it at 1 1/4. Now I like to use this side, and it's the last sort of line before the end bit is 1 1/4. So it's quite handy to do that at this side. But remember, it's this piece. Yeah, not this piece, but then it's the narrower piece. Okay. Just check that I'm still filming because I'm paranoid that I'm going to get a phone call or something's going to happen to my phone. Right. We're now going to score. So we've done our cutting for our card. We're going to score. Okay. and we are going to score at 3 3/8. Now, I do want to go through the inches for anybody who's not au fait with inches. So that's 3, okay? The big line in the middle is the half. I'll get my pencil, it's probably here. This is the half, the longer line. These shorter lines, they're getting shorter, are the quarters. And then the next one down are your eighths. We're not bothering with the tiny ones, they're the 16ths. We're not getting that technical here. So 3/8 would be 1, 2, 3. So it's in between the quarter and the half. 3 3/8. And we're going to score. Remember, don't cut. Now, Sally on her video said we could then, and I will write these measurements in the chat. Sally said we could then score at 7 5/8. Okay, now I worked out if you put that along to 7 5/8, that's actually 3 3/8 from the other side. So I would be tempted just to flip and do 3 3/8 from the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my ruler and make sure what I am saying is actually correct. Yep, I think so. Hang on, I'm doubting myself now. Yep, 3 3/8. 3 3/8. Okay. We'll put that just to one side and we'll choose some papers, yeah? I like to get all the cutting done at the beginning and then we can pop trimmers away, you see. Let me just grab my papers. So I'll show you the colours that I've used on the previous one. I'm hoping I've got enough left. Yeah, I've used this one. And I've used the wooden one now. That could be a problem. Oh, I had some left from last night. Hang on. I might have a piece big enough. If not, we'll have to improvise. Because I've made quite a few cards from this one pack. So the paper needs to be 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. So let me just check this. That's 5 1/2, so we're all right there. And that's 4, so we're good. So 5 1/4. So this is for each side of the foldy out bit. 5 1/4 by 3 1/4. So that's quite easy measurements to remember. 5 1/4 by 3 1/4. Okay, and then this can be the same. 5 1/4 by 3 1/4. And remember, you can pause this video, you can rewind it. Okay. Finally, we need to do that white piece for inside. And that needs to be 4 inches by 5 1/2. 5 1/2 by 4. I don't need to do much with that at the moment because that's going to be for the inside. Okay, I think I've done, well, we have to cut the angles on the card, but we're going to have a little rest from the cutting just for a moment. Okay, we do need to concentrate on this one, me more than anybody. Okay, what I'm going to do is fold these over and just use my bone folder. Okay, and then I'm going to open them back out and lay that down flat on my mat. And I'm going to take, I've made myself a little drawing of what I need to do. And we're going to mark on at 1 inch. We're going to come down from the top left. Now the start of mine doesn't start at the end of the ruler, it just comes in a bit. So if you think I'm doing it wrong. So we're going to do a little pencil mark at 1 inch. And that's on the top left, on the edge. And then we're going to come down to the bottom bit and we're going to come in 1 inch here from the bottom left. One inch. And we're going to do exactly the same at the other side. So we're going to come down from top right and we're going to do 1 inch. And we are going to come in from the bottom right and do 1 inch. Okay, now it's a little bit hard to see those sometimes, but once the light catches them, it's fine. You will need a rubber to rub those out at some point. Just have a little coffee until you've caught up. Right, now what we're going to do, we are going to create the angles on the card. Now, this is my cheat sheet. I've drawn myself where we need to get rid of, the card. And if I lay out the card that we're making, if I lay it flat on top of the one that I've just cut, it might give you an idea of where we're going with it. So if you can see, we're taking out a chunk here, triangle there, same there, and the same there. So that might just, if I put it that way, you might be able to see it a bit better or not. No. Okay, so we need to get the trimmer back out. This is a tricky bit, and don't rush. And this is the first score line, the 3 3/8. I want you to open up, get that cutter blade ready. But what we're going to do is we're going to put in that first score line lined up in the gutter of your trimmer where it cuts, and we're going to rotate it. You'll have to bring it down actually quite a bit so that it's going to cut this one to this 1 inch. Now just make sure that that is in the gutter, that score line, and then pop your trimmer guide down and really hold on to that and then cut. Okay, and then we get that angle. I mean, you could save that, but that's going in my bin. Then what we're going to do, the point that we've just created there, we're going to pop it in the gutter and angle it and get that in line with the pencil mark at the 1 inch on the bottom that we've done there. Pop our guide down. Oops, mine moved a bit then, but it looks okay. Make sure you don't have yours moving. And can you see what we've created there? Yeah. And then we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to pop this score line in here, rotate it. It's nearly actually vertical by the time you've sort of rotated it. But get that score line on the right hand side now in the gutter there. Get your 1 inch mark there. Pop your trimmer guide down and cut. And then finally, I'm going to use that point in the gutter. We're in the gutter a lot today, girls. And we're going to line it up with the score. Now, it's probably best to come... I wouldn't cut on a point. I wouldn't bash my blade into a point because it can make the point like all get creased and squashed up. So I'd go in from the bottom and then cut up like that. Now, at this point, you could rub out those markings. And there we have the angle. And it does look like a little pocket fold with an angle on it. Yeah, so we've got our little... And it stands up. Okay. Now, temporarily we'll pop that to one side. And we're now going to do a similar thing with the papers. Now, I learned that when I did this, you had to do it the opposite way. So, if I want this brown one on the left, yeah, which I do, I'm actually going to put the 1 inch on the right hand side. So, whichever piece of paper you want on the left hand, take that now and then measure. So it's the same sort of thing as we were doing for the card. Measure down 1 inch. Okay, like that. And then measure in 1 inch here. Like that. So what will happen is that's going to go there like that. That will be cut there and then it will be cut here. Okay. And then this piece is we're going to have here. Yeah. So we're going to do this on the opposite side. We're going to do this at 1 inch on the left. When I was making this, I thought I'll never be able to teach this, but actually now I'm getting to grips with it. Okay, we're going to do another bit of cutting. It's harder to see on here. It's harder to see the inches. But what we're going to do is we're going to put that point. So this is the last one I've just done. So my inch mark, this was the last one I did, is here on the left. So we're going to put the point here and in the gutter, and we're going to line up that inch mark here. Now, I would come in with my trimmer from the bottom, right, which it's in the wrong place. Now that's in the wrong place. Spend some time getting this lined up. So we have that. And then that point we've just created, we're going to pop in and line up with this pencil mark down here. I appreciate this one. Move that again. I appreciate with this one you probably will have to stop the video. Okay, so let me show you what happens. When I did this, I thought, oh no, it's not right. But it might be a bit, mine was a little bit off skew because we are relying on pencil measurements. It's not designed to have a border all the way around. We want this flush and just have a border at this angle, and here. Now you might find that you have a little bit of overhang, and I trimmed mine off and that was fine. So we now need to do the same with the other side. Find that pencil and pop the point in there. And then the point we've just created, pop that in the gutter, line up that 1 inch there. And off we go with that one. Woo. So it might be easier to just check. Okay, so this one's actually worked out a little bit better. I've not got too much hanging over the edge. So I'm going to glue that on. See what overhang I've got. Yeah, I've got a little bit here, so I'm just going to trim that off. You know, we're doing things manually, so there's bound to be a little millimetre out or something. There we go. We have our angle there. And then we want to do the same here. Quite a bit out, this one. Never mind. There we go. And we have that there. All right. So before we do our belly band, this is too long, Julie. I don't think I've cut this down. Hang on a minute. It doesn't need to be 5.5. I've told you wrong, that because the actual card's 5.5. It needs to be 5.25. Ignore that. At least we need to cut some more off and not add some on, which is good. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to go in there like that. And then I'm going to grab my mats. And I'm going to grab my stamp set, The Biggest Wish. And a couple of blocks. Oops. Get the right box, Jules. Our desk's a bit of a mess, isn't it? Let's move all these scraps out of the way. So I'm just going to do happy birthday. I've done it here. I've done the birthday in Mary Merlot, and I've done the happy in espresso. I don't think I cleaned these stamps after I use them, so, which is very naughty, Julie, very naughty. I'm going to do that now. Oops, I've just thrown that, launched that off into a box. Okay. Let's finish my coffee. Right. Ink pads, Jules. Have you got them out, love? I've got early espresso out. I've not got the other one out. Might switch it up a bit on this one. Whoops, that's come unstuck. Huh. I've got an air bubble, I've got something on it, but never mind. Never mind. It's a handmade card. Other than that, that would have been beautifully stamped. I must admit, I've not used Mary Merlot much. There we go. Happy birthday. I like to put the P's just hanging in between the letters there like that on when I stamp this one. Just check the hands for, yep, as suspected, I'm covered in ink. And this is when I always, you see, there's something on there. I always then get ink on my project. And that's going to go in there like that. Okay. Right, now it's time to do our belly band. And grab that piece that we cut. Now, I don't really measure this. What I do is lay it flat on my desk, and I like to use the grid paper to get it lined up. And then line my card up, and actually this is in inches, so it actually fits exactly on the squares on the if you've got any of our grid paper. And I just fold it over like that. You want it fairly tight, but not too tight that you can't get it off. Okay, and then I'm just going to work out where I'm going to put a little pencil mark where I might want to glue up to. Pencil and ruler, always handy. And I'm just using our, well, it's affectionately known as Tombow, but it's really multi-purpose liquid glue. So that's going to pop over there like that. That's our belly band. And this is what we're creating. Okay, so once that's on, I'm then going to turn my project upside down. I just like to tie my bows this way. And I'm going to bring this over to the, it's to the left when I've got it upside down, but it will be to the right on your project, yeah? And I'm going to tie a bow. Love this ribbon. It does do a nice bow. It's a good width. It's not too thin, not too thick. It's just perfect. It's ribbon perfection, really. Okay, like that. Probably need to move it over a little bit more. And then I've given you just a little bit of wiggle room to trim off. Like that. Okay, and then finally what we need to do is grab our stitched die. Now the tree doesn't quite fit on here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick, actually I think I'll stick this down first onto my project. So I'm going to leave about 1 centimetre at the bottom, just put some little dots on the wider parts, leave about 1 centimetre, a good centimetre from the top. Like that. And then pop this on here centrally. Pop that down. And then look at that. Now I've cut this out of the paper that I had. So I've gone through a bit of a pack. But rather than, because I wanted you to have a go with the dies, and I wanted you to see what it was like cutting the dies from the papers, because it's really effective. I hope you'll agree. So I'm going to just pop some Tombow on there and pop that on there like that. Just let that stick. And then we have a little label here that I've cut for you. Now, the biggest wish stamp won't fit in there, not with all the best will in the world. So and it says happy birthday inside, so if you don't want to put this on, you can. So I got this happy holidays, and I thought this for you is perfect. It's perfect for this. But I didn't get it straight last time. And I'm going to use early espresso. It's not too bad. Bit low. And I'm going to glue this on flat. And what I'm going to do is try and line up the scallops. I don't know if they're actually the same width. No, they're not really, so don't waste too much time trying to do that. I'm going to line it up with the side, like that. Okay? And then what you do need to be aware of, we only want to glue this onto the belly band element, yeah? So I'm going to I want it raised up. So I'm going to use dimensionals. And I am going to just pop that there. And then pop a couple like that. And a couple like there. And hopefully that should do the job. Oops. Just get it. I'm just eyeballing these sides to make sure I've got it straight. In the centre. And that's going to go there like that. Oops. And there we have our angled card. Ta-da! And that should come off like that. And then it opens like that. You can do it that way as well. Oops. I think I've done mine a little bit tight. Oh, it's not going to go on that way. There we go. There we go. There we have our finished angle card. So thank you so much to Sally McFadden for that brilliant tutorial. So there is the card open. There is, I've had a bit of a glue accident there. There is the belly band. And, oh, we've been about half an hour with this card. So I thought it'd take longer than that, actually. What I'm going to do is it will now probably be just past 12 o'clock. So I am going to schedule the next video for 12:15. Okay, 12:15. I'm going to make myself a note of that. The last video. Okay. Would you like to see what we're making? And then you can come back and have a go. We are doing this card here. And mine's a bit wonky inside, so forgive me. We're going to do this card. And it's similar to ones I've done before, but not the same as. This opens like this, and this is totally glued wonky inside. This opens like this, and then we have space for a gift card in the side. So it's like a birthday card and gift card all in one. Okay, so I hope you like that. And we are going to be doing that at 12:15. So I will see you then. Thank you for watching. Bye.